The peace talks took place aboard a neutral station at the edge of council space. Both sides were exhausted, bloodied, and desperate for an end to the killing. But neither was willing to admit defeat. Admiral Jackson led the human delegation. Across the table sat Commander Zorath and representatives from the Council's most powerful species. The room was tense, filled with barely controlled anger and grief. "You used a forbidden weapon," the Kaltorian delegate began, her crystalline form chiming with agitation. "The gravitational technology you deployed at Jupiter violates every treaty in galactic law." "We never signed those treaties," Jackson replied calmly. "You forced us to join the galactic community under your rules we never agreed to. Then you tried to take our homes from us. What did you expect? Compliance." The Varillian speaker slammed his hand on the table. "Respect for the order that has kept this galaxy stable for millions of years." Jackson laughed, and it was a bitter sound. "Order? Is that what you call it? Let me tell you what we discovered while preparing for this war. Do you want to know the real reason you tried to banish us?" She activated a holographic display. Financial records appeared in the air, stolen from council databases during the conflict. Trade routes, profit margins, economic projections. "We found your internal communications," Jackson said. "The real reason for our banishment was not because we were dangerous. It was because we were competition." The room fell silent. "Humanity colonizes worlds you claimed were worthless," Jackson continued. "We mine asteroids and fields you said were too dangerous. We trade goods at prices that undercut your established markets. In 150 years, human trade represents 17% of the galactic economy, and growing." She changed the display to show population projections. "In 500 years, at our current rate, humans will outnumber every other species combined. You saw the numbers. You saw what that meant for your control of trade, resources, politics. So you decided to stop us before we became too powerful." "That is not true," the Kaltorian delegate protested, but her voice lacked conviction. "Prove me wrong," Jackson challenged. "Show me evidence that you genuinely believed we were a threat to galactic stability. Show me anything that justifies trying to force billions of people to abandon their homes." Zorath spoke for the first time, his voice heavy with fatigue. "Perhaps we were afraid. Humanity is different. You take risks we would never take. You adapt to environments that kill our people. You breed without restriction. In a million years, what will you become?" "We will become whatever we choose to become," Jackson said. "Just like every other species. But you do not get to decide that for us. You do not get to cage us out of fear." A new voice entered the conversation. A transmission from deep space, from one of the abandoned human colonies. It was Ambassador Sarah Chun, who had been missing since the war began. "I have something the council needs to see," she said. The display changed again, showing footage from various human colonies. But not war footage. Daily life. Children playing in parks under alien suns. Farmers tending crops in underground hydroponic farms. Scientists conducting research. Artists creating beauty in the darkness between stars. "This is what you tried to destroy," Chun said. "Not soldiers. Not weapons. Lives. Families. Dreams. People who just wanted a chance to build something new." She appeared on screen, standing in a city plaza on Kepler 442b. Behind her, colonists emerged from their underground shelters, blinking in the sunlight after months of hiding. "You thought we abandoned these worlds," she said, "but we could never abandon them. This is where we were born, where we live, where we love. How could we leave?" The council delegates watched in silence as the footage continued. Human colonies across the galaxy, all revealing that they had never been empty. Millions of people who had hidden, waited, hoped that the war would end before they had to fight. "We fooled you," Chun admitted. "We made you think we were weaker than we are. Made you think we would surrender if you pushed hard enough. But that was our final plea. Go home, we said. Go back to your worlds and leave us to ours." You did not listen. Zorath felt something crack inside him. They had killed thousands of people fighting for colonies that had millions still hiding in them. If the war had continued, if they had tried to bombard those worlds, how many? He asked quietly. How many people are still out there? All of them, Jackson said. We evacuated non-combatants from the most vulnerable positions, but we never abandoned a single colony. Every world you thought was empty is full of humans who are ready to defend their homes. The Keltorian delegate made a sound like breaking glass. You would have let us kill them all rather than surrender? We would have made you kill us all, Jackson corrected. And along the way, we would have killed enough of you that the galaxy would remember that humans do not surrender their homes, ever. The Speaker of the Council leaned back in his chair, looking suddenly very old. What do you want from us? Recognition, Jackson said. Acknowledge our right to exist as an independent species. Acknowledge our claim to every world where humans have settled. Let us keep our homes, and we will let this war end. You are asking us to accept that humanity can ignore a galactic law, the Keltorian delegate said. To let you use forbidden technologies. To let you expand without limit. We are asking you to treat us as equals, Jackson replied. Not subjects. Not children to be controlled. Equals. Partners, if you are willing. But if not, then at least give us the respect of staying out of our way. Zorath stood up. I have fought this war. I have lost ships and crew and friends. I have seen what humans are capable of when defending their homes. And I will tell you all now, we cannot defeat them. Not without destroying ourselves in the process. That is surrender, the speaker protested. No, Zorath said. It is wisdom. Humanity will expand whether we allow it or not. They will colonize every world they can reach. They will build and grow and become something we cannot predict. We can fight them every step of the way and bleed ourselves to death. Or we can accept reality and learn to live with them. The debate continued for hours, days, but eventually, exhaustion and pragmatism won. The treaty was signed 3 weeks later. Humanity would be granted full membership in the Galactic Council, with all rights and responsibilities. All human colonies would be recognized as legitimate. In exchange, humanity would agree to certain technological restrictions, but only the ones they chose to accept. Negotiated as equals, Admiral Jackson stood before the Council one last time. But this time she stood as an equal among equals. You told us to go home, she said. We did. We went to every home humanity has ever built. And we defended them. You thought go home meant retreat into a cage. But for humans, home is not a place we go to hide. It is a place we stand and fight. A foundation we build upon. She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of representatives from 47 worlds. Humanity is home now. All of us. On Earth, on Mars, on 200 colony worlds. And from these homes, we will continue to reach for the stars. Whether you fear us or welcome us, whether you help us or hinder us, we will go on. Because that is what humans do. We go on. The speaker nodded slowly. Then go on, humans. Build your homes among the stars. But remember this war. Remember what it cost. And try, if you can, to be worthy of the freedom you fought for. Jackson smiled. We will try. That is all any of us can do. As she left the chamber, she thought of all the people who had died. The soldiers who fought in the black between planets. The scientists who gave their lives to create terrible weapons. The civilians who hid in darkness, hoping for a future. They had bought humanity freedom with their blood. Now it was the job of the living to make that sacrifice mean something. Outside, the stars waited, infinite and full of possibility. Home to humanity now and forever. The war was over. But the story of humanity among the stars was just beginning. The Council fleet arrived at the edge of the Sol system exactly 1 year after the ultimatum. 300 massive warships, each one a kilometer long, their hulls gleaming with the power of civilizations that had mastered the stars for millions of years. Behind them, support vessels numbered in the thousands. It was a force that had never been defeated. Fleet Commander Zorath of the Varillian Empire stood on his bridge and stared at the primitive system ahead. One small yellow star, 8 major planets, countless asteroids and debris. And somewhere in that mess, hiding on their tiny blue world, the humans waited. "Scan for human ships," he ordered. His sensor officer worked for several minutes, then looked up in confusion. "Commander, I am detecting thousands of contacts." "Thousands?" Zorath's skin rippled with surprise. "That is impossible. Humans have maybe 200 military vessels." "Sir, these are not just military vessels. I am reading civilian ships, cargo haulers, mining platforms, even what appears to be retrofitted passenger liners. They are everywhere. Around Earth, Mars, the asteroid belt, the outer planets." Zorath studied the display. The sensor officer was right. The Sol system was not empty. It was full. Ships clustered around every planet, every moon, every significant orbital point. And they were not running. They were holding position. "Open a channel to Earth," he commanded. The communication took several seconds to establish. When the human face appeared on his screen, it was not Ambassador Chun. It was a military officer, a woman with steel gray hair and cold eyes. "I am Fleet Admiral Sarah Jackson of the United Earth Defense Force," she said. "State your business in human space." Zorath felt a flicker of annoyance. "Your space?" "Human. This system belongs to Earth. The Council has come to ensure you have complied with our order. All human colonies must be abandoned. All humans must return to Earth. Have you complied?" Jackson smiled, and it was not a friendly expression. "Yes, Commander. We have gone home. As you can see, we are home." "Then why do I detect military vessels throughout this system?" "Because home is not just a planet. Home is the entire Sol system. Every station, every ship, every rock where humans have built something. This is our home, and we are not leaving it." Zorath understood then. The humans had tricked them. When they agreed to go home, they meant something entirely different than the Council intended. "That is not acceptable," he said, his voice hardening. The order was clear. Humans must restrict themselves to Earth itself. This system must be cleared. No. The single word hung between them. "If you do not comply," Zorath said slowly, "we will enforce compliance. The fleet you see before you can destroy every installation in this system. Surrender now, or face the consequences." Jackson leaned forward. "Commander, I want you to understand something. You are looking at our home. Humans do not surrender their homes. We defend them, with everything we have, to the last person. So I suggest you turn your fleet around and go back to the Council. Tell them we have complied with their order. We are home, and that is where we are staying." Zorath cut the transmission. He turned to his tactical officer. "Show them our power. Destroy one of their outer stations. Something small. A mining platform in the asteroid belt. Make them understand what they face." 3 of his destroyers broke formation, accelerating toward the belt. On the tactical display, Zorath watched them approach a human platform. It was small, probably housed no more than 100 humans. The destroyers charged their main weapons before they could fire. The asteroid belt lit up. Incoming fire. The tactical officer screamed. Multiple launches from the belt. Dozens of missiles. The missiles were crude by Council standards. Human fusion warheads, simple and brutal. But there were so many of them. They swarmed the three destroyers like angry insects. Zorath watched in shock as his ships tried to defend themselves. Their point defense systems took out most of the missiles, but not all. 3 warheads detonated against shields. Then 5 more. Then a dozen .1 destroyer's shields collapsed. 2 missiles struck its hull, and the kilometer-long ship split in half, venting atmosphere and crew into the void. Pull them back, Zorath ordered. The remaining 2 destroyers retreated, damaged but functional. And the asteroid belt went quiet again, as if nothing had happened. Zorath stared at the display. In 30 seconds of combat, he had lost a destroyer and damaged 2 others. Against a mining platform. Full scan of the belt, he demanded. I want to know what we are facing. The sensor officer worked frantically. When he looked up, his face had paled to a color Zorath had never seen on a Virillian. Sir, the entire belt is armed. I am detecting weapons platforms hidden on asteroids throughout the region. Hundreds of them. Maybe thousands. That is impossible. When did they build all this? But Zorath knew the answer. Humans had been mining the asteroid belt for 2 centuries. All that time, they had not just been extracting resources. They had been building a fortress. What about the other planets? He asked, dreading the answer. Mars has orbital defense platforms. Jupiter's moons are showing similar signatures. Saturn's rings appear to be hiding weapons. Sir, the entire system is a trap. Zorath felt cold. He commanded the largest fleet the Council had assembled in 1,000 years, and he was looking at a system that could defend itself against them. Not easily, not without losses, but it could fight. Open channels to all human installations, he said. Tell them we will give them one more chance to surrender. No need, Commander, a new voice said. Admiral Jackson's face appeared on every screen in the fleet. Somehow, the humans had hacked their communications. You came here expecting to find us cowering on Earth, she said. You expected us to beg for mercy, to negotiate for our lives. But we are not begging. We are telling you, leave. This is our home. We have defended it since before we reached the stars. We will continue defending it for as long as humans exist. You cannot win, Zorath said, but his voice lacked conviction. We outnumber you. Maybe, but you will have to come through our home to defeat us. Every planet, every moon, every station and ship and rock. We will fight for all of it. And yes, you will probably win eventually. But the cost, Commander. Think about the cost. On the tactical display, new contacts appeared. Ships emerging from behind planets, from asteroid shadows, from the darkness of deep space. Not thousands. Tens of thousands. Every civilian ship in the system had been armed. Every platform weaponized. Every possible point of defense activated. We spent 200 years preparing for this, Jackson said. 200 years mining, building, planning. This system is not just our home. It is our fortress. Our castle. Our final stand. You want to take it from us? Come ahead. But understand, we will make you pay for every meter. Every ship you lose, every soldier who dies, it will be because you tried to take our home from us. Zorath looked at his fleet. He looked at the Sol system, bristling with weapons, filled with humans who would not surrender. He thought about the casualties. The cost. What do you want? He asked finally. Recognition, Jackson said. Acknowledgement that we have the right to exist. That we have the right to our homes, all of them, not just Earth. Respect, Commander. We want respect. The Council will never agree. Then we will teach them respect the hard way. But that is your choice. You can turn around and go back to the council with our terms. Or you can attack, and we will show you what humans do when you threaten their homes." Zorath stood silent for a long moment. Then he cut the transmission. "Sir?" his tactical officer asked. "Your orders?" Zorath looked at the display one last time. At the human ships. At the armed asteroids. At Earth, tiny and blue and defended by everything humanity could build. "Hold position," he said, "and contact the council. Tell them we need to talk." The council rejected Commander Zorath's recommendation for negotiation. Instead, they sent reinforcements. The war began 3 days later. The first major battle took place near Mars. The council fleet, now numbering 500 ships, attempted to establish a blockade around the Red Planet. They wanted to cut off Earth's largest colony, to show humanity that resistance was futile. Admiral Jackson watched from her command center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. On her screens, the council ships moved into formation, their weapons powered up, their shields at maximum. "Let them come," she said quietly. "Mars has been ready for this since the first settlement." The council ships opened fire first, targeting the orbital defense platforms around Mars. Energy beams and missiles streaked across the void. Many platforms were destroyed in the opening minutes, their crews dying without ever seeing the enemy. But the humans had built redundancy into everything. For every platform destroyed, 2 more emerged from hiding. From the shadows of Mars moons Phobos and Deimos, from the red sand of the planet itself, humanity struck back. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the council fleet had pushed the human defenders back, but the cost was staggering. 73 council ships destroyed or damaged beyond repair. And Mars was still in human hands, bloodied but unbroken. On the Virillian flagship, Commander Zorath reviewed the casualty reports and felt sick. In one battle, he had lost more ships than his civilization had lost in the last 1,000 years. And there were dozens more human positions to take. "Sir," his communication officer said, "we are receiving a transmission from the human colonies. It is broadcasting on all frequencies. Play it." The message was simple, recorded by a young human soldier standing in the ruins of a destroyed orbital platform. Behind her, fires burned in the vacuum, and bodies drifted in the darkness. "To the council fleet," she said, her voice steady despite the devastation around her. "You killed 3,000 people here today. 3,000 sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, friends and lovers. You think this will make us surrender. You are wrong. Every person you kill only makes us more determined. This is our home. We will defend it. All of it. Until the last human draws their last breath." The transmission ended. Zorath turned it off, but the image of that young soldier stayed with him. The war continued. Week after week, battle after battle. The council pushed forward, and humanity pushed back. Neither side could gain a decisive advantage in the asteroid belt. The fighting was brutal. The council sent ships in waves, trying to clear the weapons platforms. But the humans had turned thousands of asteroids into fortresses. Each one had to be found, targeted, destroyed. And the humans made them pay for every single rock. Lieutenant Chun died defending Platform Athena, an asteroid base that housed 1,500 people. She was 23 years old. She detonated the reactor as council ships closed in, taking 2 destroyers with her. Captain Okafor died at Jupiter, leading a squadron of fighters against a council carrier group. His last transmission was simple: for Earth, for all our homes. Dr. Sarah Martinez died on Titan when a council orbital bombardment struck the research station where she worked. She had been developing new shield technology. Her work would save thousands of lives in the battles to come. The council lost people too. Commander Zereth of the Keltorian fleet died when a human missile breached his ship's armor. He was 700 years old and had served his people with honor. Ambassador Turval of the Yithian Confederation died negotiating a ceasefire that both sides rejected. She had opposed the war from the beginning. 6 months into the conflict, both sides were exhausted. The Council had lost nearly half its fleet. Humanity had lost 60% of its military vessels and dozens of civilian installations. Millions were dead on both sides, but neither would surrender. Admiral Jackson knew humanity was losing. Slowly, painfully, but losing. The Council had more ships, more resources, more time. Eventually, they would overwhelm Earth's defenses. But humanity had one more card to play. Contact Dr. Zhao on Europa, she ordered. Tell him to activate the Prometheus Initiative. Her second-in-command looked at her in shock. Admiral, we do not even know if it will work. And if it does, we change everything, Jackson said grimly. And if it does not, we lose anyway. Make the call. Deep beneath Europa's ice, Dr. Zhao received the order. He looked at his team, saw the fear and determination in their eyes. Power up the prototype, he said. The Prometheus device was humanity's most desperate weapon. It bent physics in ways that should not be possible, using theories that the Council had banned as too dangerous. If it worked, it would create a localized gravitational anomaly that could tear apart any ship within 10,000 kilometers. If it failed, it would tear apart Europa. They activated it during the Battle of Jupiter. The Council fleet had pushed past the outer moons and was closing on the gas giant itself, where the last major human shipyards orbited. Admiral Jackson had gathered every remaining ship, every functioning weapon, every soldier who could still fight. It looked like humanity's last stand. Then, Europa lit up. The Prometheus device activated, and space itself screamed. Reality warped, twisted, folded in on itself. The Council ships closest to the moon simply ceased to exist. Torn apart by gravitational forces that should not exist in normal space. The shock waves spread outward, disrupting sensors, disabling weapons, sending ships tumbling out of control. For 5 minutes, the entire battlefield was chaos. When it ended, 47 Council ships were gone. Just gone, and Europa Station was silent. Jackson felt tears on her face. She knew what that silence meant. Dr. Zhao and his entire team, dead. 8,000 people who lived and worked on Europa, dead. The station had not survived the activation, but the Council fleet was broken. Commander Zorath stared at his tactical display in horror. He had just watched 47 ships vanish. Not destroyed, vanished. And that human station had sacrificed itself to do it. What was that? His tactical officer whispered. A warning, Zorath said quietly. They just told us they have weapons we cannot defend against. Weapons they are willing to use, even if it costs them everything. He opened a channel to the Council homeworld. I need to speak to the High Assembly, now. For the first time, real fear showed on the faces of the Council members. They had assumed their technological superiority would guarantee victory. But the humans had just used a weapon that should not exist. And they had paid for it with their own lives. If they have one of those weapons, the Kultorian delegate said, they may have more. We do not. Admiral Jackson lied in a broadcast to both fleets. That was our only Prometheus device. But we will build more. And next time, we will not hesitate. You want this war? Then let us finish it. Let us see who blinks first when we are all staring into the abyss. On colony ships scattered across human space, hidden crews emerged from their hiding places. The abandoned colonies lit up, revealing they had never been empty. Hundreds of worlds, all broadcasting the same message. We are still here. We never left. And we are ready to fight. The Council realized then that they had been deceived from the beginning. The humans had never intended to surrender their colonies. They had hidden their populations, prepared their defenses, and waited. And now, with the Sol system holding and colonies across the galaxy revealing themselves, the Council faced a choice: continue a war that could cost millions more lives on both sides, or find another way. Commander Zorath broadcast a message on all frequencies: cease fire. All Council ships, cease fire. We need to talk. The colony ship Wanderer had been home to 15,000 people for 3 generations. Now it was leaving the Kepler 442 system, heading back toward Earth, or so the Council's observers believed. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, watching the blue-green world shrink behind them. Her world, the planet where she had been born, where her children had taken their first steps. Now she was leaving it, and the anger in her chest felt like a living thing. Council scanner ship is maintaining distance, her first officer reported. They are tracking our course. Let them watch, Elena said. They will see exactly what they expect to see. Behind the Wanderer, 17 more colony ships followed in formation. On the surface of Kepler 442b, the city stood empty, or appeared to. The lights were still on, the power plants still running, but no life signs registered on the Council scans, because the colonists had gone underground, beneath the cities. In tunnels and bunkers built over decades, 10 million people waited. They had food for years, water recyclers, hydroponic farms, everything they needed to survive while the galaxy thought their world was abandoned. Elena smiled grimly. The Council thought humans would simply give up everything they had built. They did not understand. Humans never gave up. Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated itself. From the ice colonies of Barnard's Star to the orbital habitats of Proxima Centauri, colony ships departed. Council observers marked each departure, satisfied that humanity was finally obeying. They did not see the volunteers who stayed behind, the engineers who kept the reactors running, the soldiers who maintained the defense systems, the farmers who tended the crops in hidden facilities, the teachers who kept educating children in underground schools. On each world, humanity left a skeleton crew, not to maintain the colonies, to weaponize them. In the Titan shipyards above Saturn, Admiral James Cade watched the construction crews work around the clock. The Council thought these yards were being shut down, the ships sent back to Earth orbit. They were half right. The ships were moving, but not to surrender. They were moving to fight. How many are ready? He asked his chief engineer. 23 carriers, 47 destroyers, 92 frigates, she replied. Her name was Chun, and she had not slept in 3 days. None of them had. We are converting the civilian freighters to troop transports. The mining ships are being fitted with weapons. The Council will call it an act of war. They already declared war when they ordered us to surrender our homes, Chun said flatly. We are just making sure we have the tools to respond. Cade nodded. He had been a military officer for 40 years. He had hoped to retire on Mars, maybe write a book about fleet tactics. Instead, he was preparing for the largest war humanity had ever faced. What about the special projects? He asked quietly. Chung glanced around, making sure they were alone. The Prometheus initiative is ahead of schedule. Dr. Zhao says they will have 3 prototypes ready within 6 months. And if they work, Admiral, the Council is going to regret every decision that led to this moment. On Europa Station, deep beneath the ice, scientists worked on weapons that the Council had forbidden. Not because they were cruel, but because they were effective. Humanity had agreed to certain technological restrictions when they joined the galactic community. Now those restrictions were being lifted. Nuclear pulse drives that could accelerate ships to incredible speeds. Relativistic kill vehicles that could strike targets at a fraction of light speed. non-monotonous swarms that could disassemble enemy ships atom by atom. And worse things. Things that frightened even the humans who designed them. "We cannot actually use some of these," Dr. Zhao said, staring at the equations on his screen. "They are too destructive." His colleague, Dr. Martinez, shook her head. "We do not have to use them. We just have to make the Council believe we will." Fear is a weapon too. On Earth, in the deep command bunkers beneath the Rockies, Fleet Admiral Jackson coordinated the greatest military operation in human history. On holographic displays, he tracked every colony ship, every hidden garrison, every secret project. "The Council expects us to gather at Earth and accept their terms," his intelligence officer said. "They are preparing a fleet to enforce the quarantine." "How big?" "Bigger than anything we have ever seen. 300 capital ships, 2,000 support vessels, enough firepower to glass every human world twice over." Jackson absorbed this information without flinching. He had known it would be bad. The Council controlled thousands of worlds. Their industrial capacity dwarfed humanity's. In a straight fight, humanity would lose. But humans did not fight straight fights. When did they arrive? 11 months. "They are giving us time to comply." "Good. We need every day." Jackson touched a control, and the display shifted to show the Sol system. Earth at the center, surrounded by Mars, the asteroid belt. Jupiter, Saturn, the outer planets. And beyond that, every single location marked in red. "What they do not understand," Jackson said quietly, "is that we are already home. And we have been preparing for this since the day we left Earth. Every human world, every station, every ship, all designed with one purpose: to be defended." His officers stared at the display. The Sol system was not just humanity's birthplace. It was a fortress. Centuries of mining the asteroids, building stations, establishing outposts on every moon and planetoid. All of it, from the beginning, had been done with defense in mind, because humans remembered their history. They remembered being confined to one planet, with no escape from disaster. They remembered nuclear weapons hanging over their heads, extinction one mistake away. Never again, they had sworn. Never again would humanity put all its eggs in one basket. So they had spread. And as they spread, they built. Not just colonies. Defenses, weapons, contingencies. The galaxy thought humanity was young and naive. But humans had been preparing for war since before they reached the stars. In the outer colonies. Now, abandoned to Council censors, the volunteers settled into their new routine. On Kepler 442b, a young soldier named Marcus stood watch in an underground command center. On his screens, he could see the surface, the empty cities, the Council scanner ship in orbit. "They really think we are gone," his partner said, laughing quietly. "Let them think it," Marcus replied. "When we light up these defense systems, it will be the last surprise they expect." Above them, hidden beneath buildings and parks and monuments, weapon platforms waited. Railguns that could punch through starship armor. Missile silos filled with fusion warheads. Energy weapons powered by the planet's core. All of it disguised, all of it waiting. Multiply that by 200 colonies, and the picture became clear. The Council had made a mistake. They thought sending humans home would end the problem. They did not understand what home meant to humanity. Home was not a place. Home was an idea. Home was anywhere humans chose to stand and say, "Here, we stay." And now, across 200 worlds, across 1,000 stations, across the vast darkness of space, humanity was coming home, not to surrender, to defend. The Council had given them 1 year. They thought it was a countdown to submission, it was a countdown to war, and humanity was ready. The chamber was massive. built to hold representatives from 47 different worlds. Ambassador Sarah Chun stood in the center, her small human form dwarfed by the towering aliens around her. Some had 6 legs, others floated in containment fields. A few looked almost human, but their eyes gave them away. Cold, ancient, certain. She had known this day would come. Everyone had. The Speaker of the Council rose from his platform. He was a Varillian, tall and thin, with skin that shimmered like oil on water. When he spoke, his voice echoed through translation devices that every species carried. The Council has reached its decision regarding the human question. Sarah kept her face neutral. Behind her, the 3 other human diplomats stood silent. They had been ordered not to speak unless called upon. It did not matter. The Council had made up its mind weeks ago. This was just theater. Humanity, the Speaker continued, has been part of the galactic community for 150 standard years. In that time, your species has colonized 214 worlds. You have expanded faster than any species in recorded history. Sarah felt a flicker of pride. Yes, they had. While other species took millennia to spread across a handful of planets, humanity had exploded across the stars like wildfire. Earth had been too small to hold them, and the galaxy was vast. This expansion, the Speaker said, and his tone shifted, is precisely the problem. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some species had been humanity's friends, or so Sarah had thought. But she saw no friendly faces now. Only fear. Only suspicion. A Keltorian delegate stood, her crystalline body chiming softly. Humans colonize worlds we deemed uninhabitable. They thrive in radiation levels that would kill our people in hours. They breed without restriction, without wisdom. In another 1,000 years, they will outnumber all of us combined. That is not a crime, Sarah said, unable to stay quiet. Silence. The Speaker's voice cracked like thunder. You will speak when addressed, human. Sarah bit her tongue. Rage burned in her chest, but she was a diplomat. She had to play their game. The Varillian continued. Humanity is reckless, aggressive. You push boundaries that should not be pushed. You take risks that endanger not just yourselves, but the stability of the entire galactic order. What order? Sarah thought bitterly. The one where you stay comfortable while we do the hard work? The evidence was presented on holographic displays for all to see. Images of human colonies on ice worlds, lava planets, even in the crushing gravity of super-Earths. Places where no other species could survive. Humanity had built cities. They showed human mining operations in asteroid fields, so dense that navigation computers called them death traps. They showed human explorers venturing into sectors marked as forbidden by the Council. They cannot be controlled, a delegate hissed. They do not respect limits. Because your limits are arbitrary. Sarah wanted to shout. But she stayed silent. The Speaker raised one long arm. Therefore, the Council has decided on the following course of action. All human colonies outside the Sol system must be abandoned. Humanity will return to Earth, your homeworld. You will remain there, under observation, until such time as your species has matured enough to rejoin civilized society. Silence fell across the chamber. Even the aliens who had voted for this looked uncomfortable now. They were ordering an entire species back into a cage. Sarah looked at her fellow diplomats. Ambassador Marcus from the Titan colonies. Commander Okoi from the Mars Defense Fleet. Dr. Yamamoto from the science stations beyond Pluto. They all nodded. They had prepared for this. She turned back to the Council and spoke clearly. No. The word hung in the air like a bomb. What did you say? The Speaker leaned forward, and for the first time, Sarah saw uncertainty in his alien eyes. I said no. Humanity declines your order. We will not abandon our homes. We will not return to Earth, like children being sent to bed without dinner. We are not your subjects. We never agreed to your authority. The chamber erupted. Aliens shouted in dozens of languages. Some demanded her arrest. Others called for immediate action. Through it all, Sarah stood firm, her 3 companions beside her. The speaker slammed his staff against the floor, and the sound silenced everyone. You dare refuse the council? Do you understand what you are saying? I understand perfectly, Sarah replied. You are afraid of us. Not because we are violent. Not because we have threatened you. But because we succeed where you fail. Because we adapt where you stagnate. Because in 150 years, we have achieved what took you millions. You are children playing with fire, the Kaltorian said, her voice sharp. You will burn yourselves and everyone around you. Maybe, Sarah said. Or maybe we will light the way to a future you are too afraid to imagine. The speaker's skin darkened, a sign of anger in his species. The council will give you 1 solar cycle. 1 year, in your terms. Return to Earth and abandon your colonies, or we will remove you by force. Our fleets are vast. Our weapons have ended civilizations. Do not test us, humans. Sarah smiled then, and it was not a pleasant smile. It was the smile of someone who had been pushed too far and had stopped caring about consequences. 1 year, she said. We accept your timeline. We will go home. Relief washed through the chamber. The aliens thought they had won. They thought humanity would surrender. However, Sarah added, I should clarify something. When we say home, we mean something different than you do. The speaker frowned. What are you saying? You told us to go home. We will. But home is not just Earth. Home is every world where humans have built and bled and dreamed. Home is the stations around distant stars. Home is the colonies in the darkness. And when we go home, speaker, we will defend it. All of it. She turned her back on the council, a gesture of ultimate disrespect in their culture, and walked toward the exit. Her fellow diplomats followed. Behind them, the chamber exploded into chaos. As they boarded their shuttle, Marcus spoke quietly. That went about as well as we expected. Better, Okoi said. They gave us a year. That is more time than we hoped for. Will it be enough? Dr. Yamamoto asked. Sarah looked out at the stars, at the vast darkness that humanity had claimed as its own. Out there, 200 colonies were waiting. Billions of humans who had been born among the stars and would never accept Earth their only home. It will have to be, she said. Send the signal. Tell everyone, we are going home. And across the galaxy, humanity began to move.